My name is Karla Patricia Lanzas Rojas, and I went to Los Medanos Community College, and I obtained an AS in mathematics. Then I transferred over to the University of California, Davis, and obtained a bachelor's of science in mathematics. And lastly, San Francisco State University for a master's in mathematics.
My name is Paty Montesinos, and I went to UC Davis and I studied math and statistics. I got my bachelor's in science in both majors. And then after that, I pursued my master's in statistics at Cal State East Bay.
Mathematics was always something that came natural to me. We were always playing all of these different types of games con la familia. Math was something that was easy for us to communicate, and my dad is actually very math savvy. And so it was always something, a way for me to bond with my father. My husband now, we were high school sweethearts, we were dating at the time. He always knew he was gonna be an electrical engineer. Like that was in his core. He told me, Karla, tutor me. I need you to tutor me in calculus because I need to pass. And so I tutored him in Calc 1. And then, he goes, well, now you need to take Calc 2 so you can tutor me. And so here I am, a child development major, taking Calc 2 as an elective for my major. He was telling me, he's like, Karla, you're really an engineer. Andale, take Calc 3 with me. Come on, take Calc 3. I need to pass Calc 3. So I took Calc 3 with him over the summer. That was the turning point. That's when I became a math major. My college professor at the time at the community college, when I turned in my final exam, he gave me a vanilla envelope. In there was a letter he wrote to me. And he said, I don't know if you know this, but you are a math major. And here is my PhD thesis. There's a lot of open math problems in there. I hope that one day you can solve one of them.
My journey in deciding what I was going to study really comes down to, I grew up in the Central Valley. And even though it's a great community and I always felt very supportive and welcome, I did struggle a lot with my sense of identity. Being Mexican American, it was like, you're never fully accepted as being Mexican because you weren't born in Mexico, or because the way you speak Spanish might not be perfect or the same accento. Being born in the US and also growing up with American culture, like hip hop and music and all that stuff. But I didn't feel accepted as an American because I didn't look the stereotypical what an American looks like. Being a brown woman wasn't easy when I constantly faced discrimination for the color of my skin and for being Mexican American. The minute I solved a math problem, and specifically when I was introduced to calculus and AP statistics in high school, it was like I entered this whole other world that I finally felt a sense of belonging.
I am currently a mathematics professor at Sacramento City College, which is a community college in California. All professors, we are held to our standards of our student learning outcomes for the curriculum of the courses that we are teaching. On top of that, we are also serving on various committees across the campus. So for me, what I like to call my hidden curriculum is really to try to find a way for all of my students to feel like they belong in the classroom. There's community building, there is, sometimes therapy sessions that have to occur, especially when students hate math, right? We need to break that apart in order for learning to happen. Yes, I teach math, but I also like to think that I engage with my students to create a sense of belonging, to create a comunidad in the space so that they can actually do the learning in the space.
I am a principal product manager for the outbound platform and analytics team, and I work at ServiceNow. ServiceNow is a global enterprise software company. We build software management applications so that other companies can run their business effectively. We basically make the world of work easier for other people. My role as a product manager on the outbound platform team is basically I work with all the application teams in the company that are building products that go out to our customers. During the pandemic, we had a COVID app that helped administrate the vaccines that were going out to the different communities, universities, everywhere that needed that app. The county of Santa Clara, using the application, they want to know how many of the residents have already been vaccinated, who needs an appointment, how many are waiting to get vaccinated, so they can leverage and administrate that and take the proper actions to reach the goal of maybe their vaccine rate.
When I first graduated from UC Davis, I had the opportunity to sit down and think, do I pursue a credential or do I pursue a master's in mathematics? So I decided to go through the master's program first. I ended up at San Francisco State University to obtain the master's. I was given the opportunity to teach right at the beginning. So I had 2 classes on top of taking my grad work. After San Francisco State, I actually started working for a company called giftedandtalented.com, and it was the educational program for gifted youth, so EPGY. They provided educational resources to students who didn't have particularly gifted education available to them. And then McGraw-Hill Education, a huge publishing company, bought our startup. I was actually a manager at that point for all of our instructors in the K through 12 sector of the online platform. I was feeling a little stagnant at my position prior to becoming a manager. I had interviewed for a math lab coordinator position at Sacramento City College. I didn't get the job. I went about my life, and a month, I think it was October, the dean that sat in that interview with me gave me a call and said, hey, we're in desperate need of a substitute teacher. And I subbed for a week, and then I came back and I said, hey, I can't sub anymore. The application closed on a Friday. That following Monday, we found out we were all being laid off. The dean calls me again and says, this position just fell on my lap. We're in need of a long-term temporary interim MESA coordinator, which is the Math Engineering Science Achievement Program coordinator. I applied for the math faculty position. Oh my God, I messed up that interview. I messed up on the math. There's no way, I'm not gonna get a call back for this. And I did. I got a call back for second interviews. They knew, they're like, it was a silly mistake and it was probably because you were nervous or something. And they're like, Karla, we'd like to offer you the position. And so then I said, okay, then I accept.
Before coming to ServiceNow, I actually worked at other companies that weren't tech. I got sparked to want to work in technology because Google came to talk to us at an event on our campus. And so I got really interested in saying oh, these are the types of problems I wanted to solve. The mentality that I had was okay, I'm gonna keep interviewing for tech companies, but in the meantime, let me try out these other industries. So let me put myself out there in all these different spaces. I wanted something more quantitative, and then I ended up trying the Department of Energy. So actually, I went from California to the East Coast for a summer. And then after that, it was the healthcare industry. For Kaiser, and then after that was market research, analyzing data of how consumers are leveraging the data. One door opened up and it was working at GoPro for their mobile analytics. I went to GoPro as a pivotal move, this is gonna give me the experience of tech on my resume. After working at GoPro for 1.5 years, I applied to ServiceNow. I knew an alumni, a friend of mine who worked here. And so I ended up letting him know that I was interested, and he made the connection and helped me get an interview. They ended up really liking me, and they said that they wanted to stay connected because they had already given the job offer to somebody else. And then a month later, I see on LinkedIn that they had another position open. So I contacted the hiring manager, and she connected me with the recruiter. In 2 days, I interviewed with them again, and I got the offer. And that's how I joined the king of enterprise software companies.
I do have to thank my current husband, Francisco Rojas. Had he not pushed me to say, Karla, you are an engineer, take this math class for me. Obviously, I don't think that I would have ventured off to take Calc 2 as a elective, right? I was very fortunate. I think when I decided to become a math major, a lot of people always kept telling me oh, you're gonna be the only female in your classes. You're gonna be the only Latina in your classes. I had the utmost privilege to graduate, not with one amiga, it was 4 Latinas in degrees in mathematics.
My first mentor, Mr. Gonzalez, he was kind of like the Jaime Escalante, if you ever saw Stand and Deliver. I just right away said, oh, this is what I wanna study, math. But I didn't know at the time, what can I actually do with that? So initially I was oh, I'm just gonna be a professor. And then I'll figure it out later once I get to the university. Once I got to Davis and I got surrounded with all these other resources, doing undergraduate research, I was part of this program called MERPS. And there was a stats professor who told us of all the real world problems he was solving with stats. He said something that was so like pivotal for me, which was, as long as you have the discipline and subject matter expertise in math and statistics, you can apply it in any field. You don't have to know about healthcare. You don't have to know about energy. You don't have to know about finance. You just got to apply that stuff in there, and then you'll soon learn about it, but you don't need to know it beforehand. I thought it was really cool because I had no idea in what industry yet I was going to be interested in. The fact that I could be this like person that like pivots from one industry to another whenever I want, I love that flexibility of it.
There is this misconception that in order to pursue math, it means you have to be good at it. It needs to be innate. If you enjoy the ability to problem solve and just sit with a problem and try to find the answer to it, then do math, pursue math. What I really want students to know is math really is for everybody, right? And we really need to reclaim our math legacy. Let's change our vocabulary. Let's change our aspect of we are not math people, and really change it to the perspective of I can do math and I will do math.
If I would go back, I was this like really shy, introverted kid that it took her a while to adapt to new changes. Moving to the East Coast for a short time and like moving to the Bay Area, working at different companies, like all of those experiences had a huge impact in shaping the person I am today. Being Latina, like you grow up with having a strong faith, like having that strong work ethic of like the mentality of échale ganas is like a huge one of you're persistent and you don't take no from an answer. And there's a lack of diversity. Like Latinos are the lowest representation in tech. And if I want there to be a difference and I want there to be a change in representation, I gotta do my part and I gotta represent that. And the only way I could do that is if si le echo ganas and then have faith in myself and I just work hard. The biggest advice I would give to Latinos, like we're really raised with like working hard, but it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart, making sure that you are not shy, that you ask questions, that you're willing to leverage everything that's around you to be able to get to your goal as fast as possible.